The unexpected visitor. The crystalline spires of the Galactic High Council pierced the violet sky of Nexus Prime, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 suns. Inside the Grand Chamber, High Counselor Zexthor, his obsidian scales gleaming under the ethereal lights, prepared for another day of maintaining order across the 1,000 worlds under his jurisdiction. The morning's proceedings were interrupted by an unexpected shimmer in the air. The chamber's security systems remained silent as a small figure materialized in the center of the room. A human child, no more than 10 years old, stood before the most powerful beings in the galaxy, wearing a simple blue dress and holding a worn stuffed rabbit. "State your purpose, Earthchild," Zexthor's voice resonated through the chamber, his 4 eyes narrowing at this unprecedented breach of security. The other council members, representing species from across the galaxy, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The girl looked up, her hazel eyes meeting Zexthor's gaze without fear. "I'm Rena," she said simply, her voice clear and steady. "And I'm hungry." A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Ambassador Lyra of the Quantum Collective leaned forward, her bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with curiosity. "How did you bypass our defenses, child?" Rena shrugged, clutching her stuffed rabbit tighter. "I just thought about being here, and here I was. Do you have any cookies?" Zexthor's assistant, a tall, willowy being named Vexna, approached cautiously with a scanning device. The moment it came within a meter of Rena, it sparked and went dark. One by one, every piece of technology in the vicinity began to flicker and fail. "Fascinating," whispered Dr. Nix, the council's chief scientist, his compound eyes reflecting the failing lights. "The child appears to be generating some kind of quantum interference field." Zexthor raised a hand, silencing the growing whispers. "Rena," he said, his voice softening slightly, "humans are not yet part of the Galactic Council. Your presence here is impossible. How did you learn of this place?" "I saw it in my dreams," Rena replied, sitting cross-legged on the floor. "There were nice aliens here who could help me understand why things keep happening around me. Like when my teacher's computer started showing pictures of puppies instead of math problems, or when all the street lights turn green when I'm late for school." The council members exchanged alarmed glances. A human child with the ability to manipulate technology and teleport across vast distances was unprecedented. According to their records, Earth's technology was primitive, barely reaching beyond their solar system. "Your abilities are remarkable," Zexthor stated, his tactical mind already analyzing potential threats and opportunities. "But they also make you dangerous. The council must decide." "I don't want to be dangerous," Rena interrupted, tears welling in her eyes. "I just want to understand why I'm different. And I really want cookies." The chamber fell silent as Zexthor contemplated the situation. In his centuries of leadership, he had never encountered anything quite like this. The protocols were clear about handling powerful beings that could threaten galactic stability, but they had never been applied to a hungry child with a stuffed rabbit. "Vexna," he called to his assistant, "bring refreshments for our young guest." As Vexna hurried away, Zexthor descended from his elevated position, his massive form towering over Rena. To his surprise, she showed no fear, instead looking up at him with curiosity. "While we wait," he said, lowering himself to her level, "perhaps you can tell me more about these dreams of yours, and what else you can do." As Rena began to speak, none of the council members noticed the subtle shift in the chamber's atmosphere, or how the very fabric of reality seemed to bend ever so slightly around the small girl with the stuffed rabbit. The day's scheduled proceedings were forgotten as the most powerful beings in the galaxy listened to a child's story, unaware that this unexpected visitor would change their understanding of humanity forever. Whispers of power. As Rena finished her third cookie, the council's emergency sensors blared to life. Screens materialized around the chamber, showing cascading system failures across Nexus Prime. Transportation grids flickered, communication networks distorted, and the city's quantum core pulsed with unusual energy patterns. Dr. Nix's fingers danced across his holographic interface. The disruptions are expanding exponentially. They match the quantum signature emanating from the child. His voice carried a note of both fear and fascination. Zextor watched as Rena absent-mindedly traced patterns in the air with her finger, leaving trails of shimmering energy. Each movement seemed to correspond with a new malfunction in the city's infrastructure. The Council's security chief, General Karavox, a being of pure energy contained within an advanced exoskeleton, stepped forward. High Counselor, we must contain this threat immediately. The city's defensive systems are compromised, she declared, her form crackling with tension. Rena looked up from her cookies, her eyes widening. Am I doing something wrong? Sometimes things just happen when I think about them. As if to demonstrate, she glanced at a nearby display panel, which instantly transformed into a cascade of butterfly holograms. Ambassador Lyra floated closer, her tendrils weaving complex patterns. Child, your power appears to be growing stronger. Can you feel it? It feels like singing inside my head, Rena replied, hugging her stuffed rabbit tighter. But the song keeps getting louder, and I don't know all the words. Zextor's tactical mind raced through possibilities. The child's abilities were clearly beyond anything they had encountered, yet she wielded them with the innocent unpredictability of youth. Traditional containment protocols would be useless against power that could rewrite reality on a whim. Perhaps, he suggested, his voice measured, instead of containing her power, we should help her understand it. The chamber erupted in protests. Council member Thresh K, a hive mind representative, buzzed with disapproval. The risk is too great. Our simulations indicate a 78.3% probability of catastrophic system failure if these disruptions continue. But Zextor noticed something the others missed. While they debated, Rena had begun humming softly to herself, and with each note, the failing systems around them started to stabilize. The chaos wasn't random, it responded to her emotions, her desires, her simple understanding of the world. Watch, he commanded, silencing the chamber. Rena, what happens when you think about making things better? The girl closed her eyes, still humming. Gradually, the emergency alerts faded. The butterfly holograms transformed back into display panels, now showing perfectly optimized system diagnostics. The quantum core's energy patterns settled into a harmonic rhythm never before achieved by the Council's best engineers. Remarkable, Dr. Nix whispered, his compound eyes reflecting the stabilized displays. She's not just disrupting our systems, she's improving them. The efficiency ratings are beyond our theoretical maximums. Rena opened her eyes, smiling. The song makes more sense when I try to help. It's like when I fixed Mom's old computer by asking it nicely. General Karavox's energy form fluctuated with uncertainty. High Counselor, this changes nothing. The child remains a security risk. We have protocols. Your protocols, Zextor interrupted, were not written for this situation. He turned to Rena, studying her with all four eyes. Tell me, child, what do you want most right now? I want to go home, she said softly, but I also want to learn how to make the song in my head work properly. Mom says I need to be responsible with special talents. The council chamber fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. They faced an unprecedented decision, how to handle a power that could reshape their civilization, contained within a child who only wanted to use it responsibly. The choice. The council's private chamber hummed with tension as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Every technological system within 1,000 light-years had begun to resonate with Rena's unique quantum signature. Dr. Nix's instruments detected ripples in the fabric of space-time itself, centered on the small girl who now slept peacefully in a guest quarter, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her arm. The implications are staggering, Dr. Nix reported, his usually steady voice trembling. Her abilities aren't limited to our technology. She's unconsciously manipulating fundamental forces we barely understand. Ambassador Lyra's tendrils twisted in agitation. Earth must have known. They must have detected something unusual about the child. No, Zexthor replied, studying the holographic data streams. Earth's scientific capabilities are too primitive to detect these quantum resonances. They likely attributed any anomalies to random technological glitches. General Karavox's energy form pulsed with urgency. We've received transmissions from the temporal defense grid. They're detecting probability cascades emanating from our location. Reality itself is becoming unstable. The chamber's screens displayed a terrifying visualization, waves of quantum distortion spreading outward from Nexus Prime, affecting every advanced civilization in their space. But instead of causing destruction, these waves were evolving things. Look at this, Dr. Nix highlighted a sector map. The wave passed through the Centauri Collective's failed terraforming project. Their dead worlds are sprouting life. Somehow, she's optimizing reality itself. A sudden alarm blared through the chamber. Vexna burst in, her usual composure shattered. High Counselor, the child is dreaming. They rushed to the monitoring station. The footage showed Rena tossing in her sleep, murmuring incomprehensible words. With each movement, new ripples of power pulsed outward. Ancient systems sparked to life across the galaxy. Dead stars flickered with renewed energy. 1,000 worlds transformed in ways that should have taken millennia. We must wake her, General Karavox insisted. Before she rewrites the entire galaxy. No, Zexthor commanded. Look closer. The changes weren't random. Each transformation followed a pattern, systems becoming more efficient, worlds growing more habitable, ancient technologies healing themselves. Even as she slept, Rena's power sought to improve, to help, to heal. Threshk's hive-mind consciousness buzzed with calculation. The probability matrices are clear. If her power continues to grow at this rate, she will surpass our combined technological achievement within days. The child could reshape reality according to her whims. Her whims, Zexthor mused, seem remarkably beneficial thus far. The debate raged through the night cycle. Some council members argued for immediate containment, others for study, and a few brave voices suggested they should simply trust in the child's inherent goodness. As dawn approached, Rena awoke. The galaxy-wide transformations paused as she rubbed her eyes and hugged her rabbit. The council watched in tense silence as she looked around her room, smiled, and waved at the monitoring camera. Every screen in the chamber suddenly displayed the same message, written in the clumsy letters of a child: "Thank you for the cookies. Can we have breakfast?" Zexthor felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: hope, tinged with fear. They faced a power that could destroy them all, wielded by a child who only wanted breakfast. The choice they made now would determine not just their fate, but the future of reality itself. Breaking point. The breakfast meeting with Rena had barely begun when the first-dimensional tear appeared. It started as a hairline fracture in reality, shimmering above the council chamber like heat waves over desert sand. Dr. Nix's instruments screamed warnings as spacetime began to buckle under the weight of Rena's expanding consciousness. "Something's wrong," Rena whispered, her spoon clattering onto the table. "The song, it's too loud now." Zexthor watched in horror as reality rippled around her. The girl's power had grown beyond even their worst predictions. Quantum distortion spread across Nexus Prime, transforming matter at random. Trees of crystal sprouted from metal floors. Gravity reversed in pockets throughout the city. Time itself began to stutter and skip. "I can hear everyone," Rena cried, pressing her hands against her ears. "All the machines, all the stars, they're all singing at once. Make it stop." General Karavox's energy form crackled with alarm. "The dimensional barriers are collapsing. If we don't contain this now, the entire sector could be lost." But traditional containment was impossible. Rena's power had evolved beyond physical constraints. Each attempt to shield or dampen her abilities only caused more chaos as her subconscious mind fought back against the perceived threat. Ambassador Lyra's tendrils whipped frantically as she accessed the emergency protocols. The quantum core is destabilizing. We're detecting similar patterns across thousands of worlds. She's becoming a nexus for all reality. Through tears, Rena looked at her stuffed rabbit, now floating in a bubble of altered time. I don't want to break everything. Please help me. Zexthor made a decision that went against every protocol, every rule, every instinct honed over centuries of maintaining galactic order. He approached Rena, ignoring the warnings of his fellow council members. Child, he said softly, kneeling before her. Don't fight the song. Listen to it. What is it trying to tell you? Rena closed her eyes, tears floating upward in the fluctuating gravity. It's like a puzzle. All the pieces want to fit together, but I don't know how. Then let us help you solve it, Zexthor offered. Not with containment or control, but with understanding. Dr. Nix's voice cut through the chaos. High Counselor, the dimensional tiers are reaching critical mass. We have minutes at most before total systemic collapse. But Zexthor remained focused on Rena. You've shown us that your power seeks to improve, to heal, to make things better. Trust in that intention. Trust in yourself. The chamber groaned as reality twisted around them. Council members braced themselves for what seemed like inevitable destruction. Yet in this moment of crisis, something extraordinary happened. Rena opened her eyes, which now shimmered with quantum energy. I understand now, she said, her voice overlapping with echoes of itself across multiple dimensions. The song isn't just noise. It's a symphony, and everyone plays a part. Balance of trust. With newfound clarity, Rena stood in the center of the chaos she had created. The dimensional tiers began to stabilize, not through force or containment, but through harmony. She raised her hands, conducting an invisible orchestra of reality itself. Every system, every star, every piece of technology, they're all connected, she explained, her voice carrying the wisdom of 1,000 civilizations. They weren't broken. They were just playing out of tune. The council watched in awe as reality reshaped itself around them. The quantum distortions that had threatened to tear apart the fabric of spacetime now wove themselves into a new pattern, more stable and elegant than before. Dead systems sparked with renewed life, while unstable ones found balance. Dr. Nix's instruments recorded the impossible. She's not just fixing the damage, she's creating a new framework for reality itself. One that allows for growth, adaptation, and harmony between all technological systems. General Karavox's energy form pulsed with understanding. The child isn't a threat to our existence. She's an evolution of it. Zexthor stood before the council, his decision made. For millennia, we've sought to maintain order through control and containment. But today, a human child has shown us a better way, through understanding, trust, and the courage to embrace change. The council chambers transformed around them, technology merging seamlessly with organic growth. Crystal trees pulsed with data streams, while quantum interfaces bloomed like flowers. Rena's power had created something entirely new, a fusion of nature and technology that defied their previous understanding of reality. I think I'm ready to go home now, Rena said softly, picking up her stuffed rabbit from where it floated. But I can still help, can't I? Zexthor nodded, all four eyes gleaming with newfound purpose. You will be the bridge, Rena. Not our prisoner, not our weapon, but our teacher. You've shown us that the greatest power lies not in control, but in harmony. The council drafted new protocols that day, not to contain or restrict, but to learn and grow. Earth would be welcomed into the galactic community, not as a primitive world to be monitored, but as the birthplace of a new era. As Rena prepared to return home, reality settling into its new patterns around her, she turned to Zexthor with a smile. Thank you for the cookies, she said. And for helping me understand the song. The High Counselor watched as she vanished in a shimmer of quantum energy, returning to her world changed but unchanged, still a child, but one who had reshaped the universe with the pure intention of making things better. In the centuries that followed, the story would be told across 1,000 worlds, how the fate of reality was decided not by force or fear, but by trust in a child who heard the symphony of existence and taught them all to listen.